What is going on, Pats Nation? You guys already know who it is. Patriots Global here, back with another video. And in this one, we are going to be talking about another draft selection here for the New England Patriots. Of course, after you guys are done watching this video, you guys can check out my other two videos if you haven't already, of course, or if you just want to watch it again, don't mind that at all. But we already made videos on the Christian Barmore selection, along with the Mac Jones selection, and doing the analysis on both of those players and what they bring to the Pats. So go head over to those videos and check them out if you haven't already. But in the third round, the end of the third round too, with pick 96th, overall in the 2021 NFL Draft, again, the end of round 3, the New England Patriots have selected defensive end Ronnie Perkins. And look, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I wasn't expecting this. Now, Ronnie Perkins is a steal for the Patriots. Okay, we're gonna get into my thoughts, and I just want to say straight off the bat that this is a steal for the Pats. Do not get it wrong. Do not get it confused. This is not a bad selection at all for the Patriots. Maybe just a little bit, of a question mark, But also at the same time, it's something that makes sense. So without further ado, let's just hop into it. So Ronnie Perkins is, of course, like I mentioned, an edge defender. He's coming out of Oklahoma, and the NFL Network, the NFL website, for their prospect draft profiles, they have him ranked as a 6.12 grade. Now, for those who don't exactly know what that means, the 6.12 grade is rated as basically a good backup who could have the potential to be a starter one day. Now, I'm someone who knows a lot about these prospects, knows a lot about, I would say, a majority of the prospects. So I do know a little bit about Ronnie Perkins, but he isn't someone that I did a ton of work on. He's someone that, while doing my research, I have come across, and I've done a little bit of research. But I'm not going to lie to you guys, I didn't see the Patriots going after an edge defender so early in the draft. And, a Patriots account posted something on their story that I could not agree with more, and that's some people are going to be upset with the Patriots going defensive line back-to-back when, there is other concerns for this team, There's wide receiver, but I'm not concerned because I think they can get wide receivers tomorrow and be perfectly fine. But I know there's some receivers you guys liked. Offensive linemen have gone like crazy this draft, so it's going to be tough for the Patriots to get an offensive lineman. And then most of these cornerbacks are taken. I mean, Eric Stokes, Melifanu, pretty much every notable name at this point is also off the market. But at the same time, you don't necessarily just want to draft somebody because it's a need. Sometimes you kind of have to go for the best player available, and you want to go for somebody that you know is going to be a great player and somebody that is going to help be a difference maker on your team. You don't just draft someone and say, there's someone much, much better on our board, much higher on our board. You're not very high on our board. You might not make a great transition to the NFL, but we do need you. We do need we do need a cornerback, so I guess we'll select you. No, you don't do that because, that's just going to potentially lead to Pats fans being disappointed and essentially Belichick being disappointed because that draft pick isn't going to work out. So I think here, the Patriots, of course, didn't necessarily go with need. They just went with a player that they felt was a steal, which I've heard a lot with Ronnie Perkins here, drafted by the Patriots at this position. So, like I said, I think they went more for not so much need here, but so much for just kind of a talent perspective. So the overview that NFL Network brings to us, I unfortunately cannot use PFF right now because I don't know what's going on with their website, but it is just not working. If y'all tuned into my live stream tonight, you would know that we were having so much troubles with the PFF website, so they're kind of screwing us over here. But the NFL website overview they have for him says he's productive but undersized defensive end who might need to prove that he can play standing for a 3-4 scheme, which is essentially what the Patriots play most of the time. They say that Perkins is a tight-hipped and very average athlete with production coming thanks to his hard-charging motor, as well as Oklahoma's slant-heavy defensive front. He's tough, but the lack of bend has a distinct impact on his anchor and contact balance at the point of attack. Despite some of his physical deficiencies, he plays with forward focus and the attitude to go find the football. There are differences of opinion in the NFL scouting community regarding his NFL potential, but the lack of traits and functional quickness are challenges that could limit him. Everywhere that I've looked, I have essentially seen him being a top 10 edge rusher. I mean, of course, no matter where you go, they're going to have him ranked at different points in the top 10, but I've seen him mostly as a top 10 edge rusher, but a guy who would most likely go in the third round, which he did. But everybody is screaming how, he was disrespected. He even said it himself. He's disrespected, and, he's going to prove everybody wrong, which is another great chip on his shoulder to have. Belichick got a guy who wants to prove people wrong, which always seems to go well in the Patriots system. But everybody's screaming how, he dropped so far in the draft and this is a steal for the Patriots. And while I do think it's a potential steal for the team, I've seen everybody saying he's going in the third round. And although the Patriots got him literally at the end of the third round, it is still the end of the third round. I mean, it's in the third round still. Now, Mike Reese actually shared this, that Ronnie Perkins is the only defensive lineman in 2020 for college football that had a 90-plus grade in both run stopping and rushing the passer. Now, while that is spectacular, don't get me wrong at all. Okay, I'm not saying that he didn't deserve those grades, but from what I understand, a lot of his pressures, a lot of his sacks actually came from one game. Nonetheless, though, he is someone who has 24 tackles for loss and 11.5 sacks over his last 19 games. And like I mentioned earlier, I've seen a lot of people projecting him in the third round. I've seen some people say that he could go in the second. I know Daniel Jeremiah of NFL's Network had a lot of positive things to say about him. He actually ranked him 44th among the top 150 prospects. ESPN's Todd McShay has Perkins at 38th overall, and Mel Kiper ranked Perkins as the 40th on his big board among defensive ends. Now, according to Pro Football Network, they said some positives about Perkins, that he's a 3-year starter who is a game-impacting defender. He plays with excellent pad level and balance and is rarely off his feet. He's fast off the edge, and that is something I will say. Watching his tape, he does seem like a very, very fast player, very fast edge defender, and speed kills no matter what position you're at. So, I mean, that's definitely an upside for him. They say that he slices through double-team blocks and is easily changing of directions or immediately alters his angles of attacks. Also keeps his feet moving, works his hands, and covers a tremendous amount of area on the field. He's explosive, very sudden, and has a closing burst bearing down on quarterbacks, works his hands to protect himself, plays off blocks from tight ends, and gives effort defending the run, and he easily exploits immobile tackles and constantly disrupts the action behind the line of scrimmage, and is very good staying with his assignments and giving efforts. Some negatives about him, again, we talked about this before, he does lack the ideal size for a defensive end, and they say that might be a bit of a concern against the run when it comes to the next level. They also have some concerns about potential character issues. Honestly, for me, with all the research I've done, I think that Perkins is going to be in control, for lack of better words, of his NFL career. I think that he could be a very scary defensive lineman. I think that he could be very good. I think that he could be a difference maker for any team. He just needs to stay focused, and he needs to want it. From what we saw, from where he was drafted, he feels very, very disrespected, and it looks like he is motivated, and that's great, but he has got to stay in that mindset. I think the second he gets out of that mindset, if he gets lazy, he's just going to fall off, and he's not going to be a great defensive player. If he wants to be better at that next level, he really has to train hard and focus. So now that we got the analysis part out of this, I kind of want to talk about how I felt a little bit more about the selection. Now, like I said, I wasn't jumping up and down like I was, let's say, with Christian Barmore or especially Mac Jones. You guys can check out those reaction videos if you would like to. And that just comes down to the fact that the Patriots have so many guys that are going to be setting the edge. It just concerns me with how all of these guys are going to get playing time, essentially. Now, I personally have Lawrence Guy as more of a defensive tackle, but he does play at defensive end at some time. Henry Anderson is a guy that can play at DT or DE. But you just brought in Matthew Judon, who for the most part is going to be an off-the-ball linebacker, but really someone who's setting the edge. You just got Josh Uche, who is really mainly used as an edge defender. We only saw him, I think, at the actual true linebacker position for about 1 or 2 games this past season. Chase Winovich really is just a set-the-edge linebacker, or I guess you could say edge defender. Dante Hightower sets the edge a lot of the time also. Kyle Van Noy sets the edge, of course, a lot of the time also. And there's only 2 edges on a defense, so I don't know. It just brings some concern for me. Now, will the Patriots use him as an edge defender, or will they use him as an outside linebacker? If they use him as more of an outside linebacker, then I can totally understand this. They need some help at linebacker. I personally would have went more with the Jabril Cox, but Perkins does fit, really well with what the Patriots would want to do if they do utilize him as an outside linebacker, and I do think that's where he could get more playing time, at least right now, because like I mentioned, there is just so many guys the Patriots have that are setting the edge. Now, as a 3rd-round pick, he's obviously a roster lock. He's not going to get cut, okay? That's just period. It's not going to happen. How much time he gets this upcoming season when it comes to snap time, the amount of snaps he gets, is going to be very dictated, I believe, on him. Is he going to be the first guy in, last guy out? Or is he going to be the last guy in, first guy out? It's also going to be dictated on how he progresses this offseason. Again, I really do believe that the preseason, if we do have one, is going to be just super important for so many guys in the NFL, but especially for the rookies and somebody like a Ronnie Perkins. How he develops, how he plays, his production will be very evident on, how he's going to, play for the Patriots in this upcoming season, where he plays and just how much snaps he gets. But I really do think that Belichick could kind of try to use him in a multitude of different ways, kind of like he's done with really most of the linebackers / edge defenders he's gotten, with Chase Winovich, with Josh Uche. I think he'll try him at edge defender. I think he'll try him at outside linebacker and then go from there. Like I mentioned in really all of my mock drafts, and even in this video, I personally didn't have the Patriots taking an edge defender in my mock drafts, really just because I really don't think they needed one. But in the end, when it comes to value, I think the Patriots hit the nail on the head here. They got to steal in Ronnie Perkins. You can't deny that factor, and it seems like that has been the name of the game for the Patriots so far this draft. And everybody, whether you're a Patriots fan or not, NFL analysts have been loving what the New England Patriots have done, and this has just been a stellar draft for them so far with their 3 selections. I know he's not a corner. I know he's not an offensive lineman. I know he's not a receiver, but at the same time, you don't push for a player, like I said earlier, just because he's a need. You take best player available sometimes when, all is out and you can't get a player at the position of need. And I think that's exactly what they did here, and they got a really good player out of it. Before we end this video, though, I want to give a quick shout out to the sponsors of this video, BetOnline.ag. Now, BetOnline has the fastest and the easiest ways to bet on all of your sports action. Football might be over, but NBA, college basketball, and the NHL are a full swing. And BetOnline even covers awards, reality TV, and TV shows. And they also have real-time updated odds and props on almost anything you can imagine. BetOnline also has you covered for all of the new scores and odds, and it's the best way to place your bets, and it's completely free to sign up. All you guys got to do is head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive a 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. This is BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. Don't sit on the sidelines anymore. Get in with the action, guys. Don't forget to use that promo code CLNS50. That is CLNS50 to receive a 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. The New England Patriots, right at the end of the third round, get a steal in defensive end Ronnie Perkins. What is your guys' thoughts on this? Let me know in the comment section below. Make sure to leave a big like on this video and subscribe to the channel for all of your New England Patriots news. But like always, I appreciate you guys for watching this one. Go Pats, and I will see you guys tomorrow for day 3 and the final day of the 2021 NFL Draft.